The words championship implications have been thrown around in many series, but after the last 2 weeks, the stakes have never been higher. With 3 drivers in contention for the GTP title and just 2 drivers left to duke it out in GTO, it is all to play for today as the drivers challenge the tricky streets of Belle Isle. So who will end the day as the champion? Well, we'll find out soon as we get ready to watch the final round of the iRacing IMSA Vintage series, and you will see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hello everyone, I am Craig King, and with me in the booth and behind the scenes is our director Robert O'Brien, and he'll be using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, Belle Isle is a track that sadly sees no more racing, but it is still a legendary track in America. To find out more about this track, let's go down to our track guide.
Welcome to the Belle Isle Street Circuit. Situated in a beautiful park on Belle Isle itself, it rests in the Detroit River, sandwiched between the Motor City and Canada. With it being in the far north of the Midwestern United States, as you'd expect, harsh winters make this a bone-jarringly bumpy track. The 14 narrow corners only add up to a mere 2.3 miles in length, but it can tend to feel like a lot more just from the sheer stress of keeping your car out of the walls. Runoff is non-existent in a majority of corners, so mistakes tend to be punished with race-ending damage. The dangers include the tight and twisty fountain section with its rapid-fire set of bends, and the frightening turns 12 and 13, which end the lap with 2 swift kinks. However, the most notorious spot on the track is the exit of Turn 2, made famous by collecting the Corvette pace car into its hungry walls one year. The first 2 turns are a quick chicane, so the extreme change of direction, plus the rise in the track as it crosses over a creek, means grip and balance can disappear in an instant. While the setup of the car can sometimes help lessen the annoyance of the bumps a little, what this place all comes down to is driver skill and daring. Precision will pay off with the close proximity of the barriers. While it isn't a stroll in the park for drivers, fans get to enjoy the beauty of the scenery, all while watching some of the most thrilling racing an American street course has to offer.
The Sim, and there is the legendary fountain at Belle Isle. Rob, this is a track, as we see Valenteus take a little spin there, that's very popular with the drivers. What will they be expecting around here today?
A very bumpy ride, Craig. Good evening and hello, one and all. And it is, well, it's a pleasure to be sharing the booth for, I think, the first time on GSRC, but a track of 2.35 miles or 3.78 kilometers will pose a challenge to anybody who's going around this circuit. Not racing here this week in the real world, but at the new Detroit track, as Craig thankfully pointed out to me. 14 turns around the very tricky street circuit. Fleming straight into Loiter. You'd want to keep your wits about you throughout the whole thing, and especially around Fountain. If you get one step wrong, I'd imagine that you'd meet the wall quite quickly. Then on the back straight through Sunset, on through Casino to finish the lap, you're going to have your wits about you. In case of anybody getting things wrong, there's a wall, no asphalt for you to run off on. So keep your wits.
Wits aplenty today. Loads of hard braking as well. It's going to be interesting to see how the GTPs fare out there. And speaking of the GTPs, I mentioned 3 drivers. Let's look at those championship standings. I almost said championship implications, because leading the championship on 129 points, Dustin Hirota. Behind him on 127 points is Fabian Jungbluff and Aitor Sintes Galindo. Both of them on 127 points. Followed by Alexander van der Sant, who is not here today. He will finish on 117, and Brendan Lim's still there on 112. He is out of the running for the championship. It is all about those top 3 in the championship for the GTPs. GTOs are just as tight, Rob.
Well, you say tight, but if I'm going to be honest, when you have standings with Mickey Friesen on top, it's... Ooh, I can't split it either way, but in first, it's going to be Mickey Friesen in the current standings, Joram van Hickse in second, Andreas Slumba in third, Noah Lundberg in fourth, with Cam Porter in fifth, Andreas Valenteus in sixth, with Josh Brain leading the Brains in seventh place. Arturas Kundalis in 8th. 9th, Doug Cloud. And rounding it all out is Romain Belo in 10th. But, standings aside, what are they going to be experiencing today?
Well, they're going to be experiencing, I like to joke and say it's going to be pain. This is a challenging track. It's a fun track, though. That's the most important thing. The drivers love driving this track as we get ready to do qualifying. 12 round today, 40 minutes. It's an open setup car, which means no spare car. And there is a drive-through penalty at 17 incident points, disqualification at 25. You're mainly going to pick up 0x's from tapping the wall around here, which is basically the gist of it. I did see, by the way, we were looking at those championship standings. Mickey Friesen, if he wins, Andreas Sulumber needs 8th position or higher to win. Anything lower than 10th for Mickey and Andreas wins the championship. There are loads of other permutations. They taught me through it this week, Rob. I have had to basically bang my head against a table with how deep the standings go. This gives me, remember, and I'm going to really be cursed now, remember the 2010? No, I'm thinking of the one with Hamilton, Alonso, and Kimi Räikkönen. I'm thinking of that one. That was 2007.
It was 7, yeah. But I was even thinking 2010 because there was 4 drivers in that running.
It was
Sebastian Weber, Alonso, and Hamilton.
Yes, that was one of those underrated seasons of courses. Qualifying still is out there. Raul Guardia, currently leading the way for the GTPs. And I do see something. In fact, I may have to just double check here. This gives big implications because I'm having a quick look. Dustin Hiroda has a bit of a damaged car on my screen. He's only put it 4th fastest so far. There is Andreas Schuster, though, leading Noel Lundberg in the GTOs. They should get another lap. In fact, yeah, they're just finishing off the lap. This bit here, Rob, this is pretty flat out for a GTP. And then the speed difference, I think there's a little lift for the GTOs here.
Yeah, you do have to keep it out of the wall, especially with how, sharply the car slides around. We could just see Andreas Schuster coming through. He was having to essentially grip it like it's an owl 80s mobile around Noel Lundberg as well, right up to the wall. You kind of lift just on a little bit before, and you just want to let the car nicely slide in. There's a lot of sliding for the L GTOs, the L Audi 90s, but I think the drivers are pretty happy about it. But I'd be happy if I was this man, Noel Lundberg. He's put it 2nd, but he did put it 1st, and then this man said no.
Yeah, Valentine just decided, I'm going to be late for qualifying. He's still got one more lap to go. Comes down at the long straight here. And yeah, he basically just smashed everybody. This is going to be the X factor of the day. Valenteus, such a strong driver in any machinery. And if you're unfamiliar with Valenteus, in the week, during the hot splits, he'll drive a GTP. In the broadcast race, he will come out into a GTO. He can do everything. And just look at how much look how much speed they're also carrying. That corner there, down at, I want to say it's turn 5. My do a track map, unfortunately, all the numbers have been smudged out. That's a tight corner because you want to get that perfect to set yourself up for this long straight. And down into turn 7, into the fountain. This is grass. This is actual grass. This is the only grass they'll see all race. A little slide there from Valenteus.
Yeah. Cutting through. It has to make sure to keep this fountain in check because when in the GTOs especially, you are clutching a lot trying to get the car turned around. Now, he did actually do a very good job coming through. I mean, he always does. But it's sliding out the rear, kicking out as the car disagrees. It may be four-wheel drive, but this car will say, I might just not be four-wheel drive right about now. Comes across the line. He sets at 251 slower.
Yeah, it is slower, but it keeps the pole position for him with just one more car left to drive around. And just a minute left. Get ready to go to the grid. And this is some of the drivers just taking some final laps around here. Alex Mass, he won't get a lap time in with just looking on the timing tower left. 1 minute left. He is going to be very... It might be touch and go, but we're going to go straight to that podium, to that starting anyway. as Raul Guardia will continue his late season dominance of the GTPs on the front row. Ferran Grau will be P2, and then it's first blood to Aitor Sintez Galindo. He will be in third, with Javier Del Olmo in fourth. Fabian Youngblood will be right behind Sintez Galindo, and then Dustin Hirota is going to be beside him. You've got the triangle all there in the second and third row. Mitchell Welker will be in seventh, with Seamus Power in eighth. Brendan Lim will be ninth, and Zachary Buchanan will be 10th. And we do have some more drivers out there, because we get down to David Finch in 11th, with Martin Krajtrick in 12th. Sam Dillingham will be 13th. Albert Palahi will be the last time qualifier in 14th, and Jesus Sanchez Morales, a non-time qualifier, he will start 15th in the GTPs.
And of course, two sets of classes, so two grids. Andreas Valenteus takes the top spot at almost 0.6 of a second clear with a 1:27.138. No, Lundberg lines up second on the front row. Arturas Kundelis in third, with Joram van Hikse in fourth. Fifth is Andreas Schuster, with Andreas Sliumba in sixth. Mickey Friesen, he's not on the right spot. He has to be in the W. I did say the W. In in seventh position. He needs to be first. Alfonso Fernandez in eighth. Doug Cloud in ninth. And 10th will be Josh Brain. In 11th is Romain Bello. Cam Porter 12th. Bjorn Ackerman in 13th. Jack David Spickett in 14th. Carl Stone Cipher in 15th. Alex Mass 16th. And finally, Jamie Hamill Smith rounds out the 9th row and the rest of our qualifiers in GTO. But that weather, though. Ooh.
Yeah, interesting weather, isn't it? It is. 81 Fahrenheit out there, 27 Celsius. That air temp's going to be interesting. The humidity as well, 97. That's going to affect the speed a little bit in these cars that are on board with that pace car. Overcast as well, but that wind, 16 miles an hour southeast. That's going to be a little bit of a crosswind. You may get a little bit of a wind coming towards you on the first long straight after turn 2. Down into turn 3, and that hard braking going to be very strong for these drivers. It is very interesting to see that all three of the contenders are at the front, and I'm going to knock on wood, Rob, because I don't want to see anyone having an early accident here. We want to see them fight it out on the battlefield. Yeah,
if you go in deep and go into the wall, that's your race done. So they're going to try and keep it out of the wall as best they can. Well, hopefully, anyway.
Yeah, we hope so, as they get ready to start rolling. 15 GTP, 17 GTOs. They'll come around here at turn 2. Another piece of grass. There is grass. It is a street track. I think some of the drivers were calling this the American Monaco for a moment. The bumpiness is going to affect these GTPs for 40 minutes around here for the final time this season. They are going to get ready. The pace car dives in. Guardia will lead them all under pacing, and he makes the jump, and Ferran Grau does not get a good jump there, and he's going to be held up a little bit. He's going to leave almost a car gap between him and Guardia. Behind them, it looks like one of the drivers having a bit of a bad start. It's Javier Del Olmo's not getting the start he wants. He's missed a few places there. Javier is having a bad start. What about those GTOs?
The GTOs are not even out the corner, and Valenteus is taking a good length as Arturas Kundelis is trying to keep up with him. Johan van Hikse in third, trying to fend off. That's Noah Lundberg on the outside of the band of others. Racing car, and hounded behind him is Schuster. And they're all just tucked in very clean, though. But a lot of argy-bargy trying to get through the first set of corners.
Yeah, those cheese blocks trying to make their way through in the Audi 90s as they continue to slink on by. You do see a little bit of dust picking up there. Little taps at the wall there. No serious damage by those cars as they continue to try and find the opportunities. And just look at those weather conditions at the moment. No hard braking at the moment. They need to warm these tyres up. The GTPs, they're going to have to take another lap really to warm these tyres up as they come down to finish their first lap. It is quite quiet, but Dustin Hirota making 2 positions up. Very crucial for that championship, Adam.
He has to. I didn't know I was Adam, but yes, absolutely. After a bad qualifying, he has to make up absolutely everything. And if he stays behind other cars, like let's say Aitor Sintez Galindo, third place, he is a fast boy, and if he gets stuck continuously behind him, you might be able to challenge Ferran Grau, who's also very fast, and even faster is this man, the car number 17 of Raul Roque Garcia. Sorry, I was about to say Garcia's. That's not Garcia, but they keep getting very close to that wall.
Yeah, well, you've got to use as much line as you want here. Open up the corners, and especially with these cars, you're trying to push what you can. If the championship ended right now, it's almost like American sports if the playoffs started now, but if the championship ended right now, Sintez Galindo would win the championship as he's ahead of these three. And it's going to be very crucial to see, can he hold on? He's already got a bit of a gap to Dustin Hirota. Hirota and Youngblood going to have to work together if they want this. There is the lead of Guardia. Guardia almost looks like he's just going to have a little stroll. His race is just for himself today. It's not going to be for the others. He's just going to enjoy himself. It's almost a bit like I'm not battling here. I'm battling for these guys, but the championship matters more to them than to what it does to me right now. So let's get back to those GTOs as well, because we haven't seen a lot away from them at the moment. It's been quiet. Noel Lundberg not getting the start he wanted in the GTOs. He's dropped down to 5th position at the moment, and there is the number 3 of Candelas. You can just see that is the difference as we go back here. That's the difference. Vantageous 2 laps already, a second and a half ahead. And here's the rest of the queue. In fact, there you go. Candelas and Van Hixie keeping up very well, and the rest of the field just losing out. I mean, that difference, a 10th faster is Valenteus compared to the other drivers. And we've got a very damaged number 19 there, which is Martin Krajcik. Not the day he's having there, Rob. I wonder what has happened there. I think he's hit the wall.
No, he struck the wall, absolutely. And that was coming through the complex just before turn 2 and 3. And that is... it is an absolute heartbreak for him, and another car has just struck the wall. So the GTP is under very tight scrutiny at the moment, so it is going to be a hard day in the box, especially for Krajcik. He has to go back and get that repaired. I think he's got... oh, yeah.
No, he can't steer that. He can't steer that. I did look back. Unfortunately, it was Brendan Lim trying to make the overtake and just heading the curve a bit too much and washing out of the corner. And that is not the day for Martin. He's going to bring this car in and get some repairs. No, he's going to keep on driving. He's going to keep on driving and keep it going. And by the way, our condolences to Martin and his family after the loss of his father earlier this week. And us from GSRC send our condolences his way. And he's now just going to be driving. He's going to be losing a lot of time. And there's a guy in the background there. That's Albert Pahalahi. Now, he's already got damage there. Did he catch that damage there?
He just did, yeah. He just did. If we look backwards, and you'll be able to see what on earth just happened. He tried...
And that camera angle was fantastic because you can actually see there is an elevation change there. And if you don't get that car right, as Roman Bellows-off, we'll look at that later, if we don't get that angle right, you're going to lose the balance of the car. And with this downforce effect that they've got here with these cars, it's very tough, and it just upset the car. And we always talk about the pogoing these GTPs have. Unfortunately, it cost him a lot, and that is Balahi's day done. Or maybe as Farron Grau continues ahead, he's got the lead away from Guardia. Something's happened to Guardia. I'm not sure if that was just due to a mistake, but he has lost that lead, and now he is in the battle of playing catch-up. In fact, I can say he lost that lead a couple laps ago.
He did indeed. A little mistake. Farron Grau always compounds on a good chance and a good opportunity, and he absolutely has done so in this case. Early still, yes, but we do have one lap, car back to be lapped. That's going to be, I think, Roman Belo. No, it's not. It's somebody else out there at the moment that's a lap down. It is going to be Bjorn Ackerman trying to stay out of the way. Oh, a little bit close to the wall.
Too close. Bit too close there, but he gets it by. He is a little bit of a striker because he's off the pace at the moment. Well, he's off the pack, not the pace. He's off the pack at the moment. This is Van Hixie trying to make a move on Kundelis. You can just see the heavy braking. It's so tough to make a move in these cars. It's almost a 90-degree turn after going straight. It is a 90-degree turn after going straight there. You really have to outbrake it. It's so tough in these cars. We look at the GTOs, and you can see as well the standings there. Andreas Schuster is currently in 4th. And where is Mickey Friesen? He is currently down in 6th. But it's Salumba you need to check out on, because even though it's Friesen's 6th, Salumba is in 8th position. He's trying to battle Doug Cloud at the moment. That's all the important battle, because if Salumba stays here, in theory, he should be able to almost lock the championship up. We'll wait and see. Looking for a move on Doug Cloud. Doug's going to be taking the defensive line. And it goes wide. Because
yeah. Cars are not the most pliable when under severe amounts of pressure after having driven them in anger multiple times now at this stage. It is a very, very touch and go situation. You can't let the car drift. If you let the car drift, it's like... Do you know what it's like? It's like pushing a shopping cart that's nose heavy. You then just go through the corner and then out towards the wide line. You can't save it, obviously, but it is a pain to try and do that.
We've had a moment in the GTPs. One last GTO at the back of the pack, and unfortunately it was Alex Mass who made a spin entering turn 7, and he did his best to hold the car, but Gardia unfortunately could not avoid the car, tried to get on the brakes, started locking up the brakes, and the front of the car has damage. He is in the pits. I'm going to use that word again, championship implications, because now Aitor goes up the points order. That's going to help him if he doesn't win the race. Now Aitor's in 2nd, Haroda's in 3rd, Jungblev's in 4th. The 3 cars duking it out for the championship are now up 1 position. All of them, in fact, Haroda's up 3 positions, but the pole sitter is out of the race, and I believe that is Gardia's first DNF.
I think it is, judging by the numbers, and what an absolute crying shame it is to DNF at Belle Isle, especially given the fact that, as you say, championship implications. You have to roll with the punches, though. Unfortunately, today wasn't the day, and by extension, wasn't the season. Going around, that is going to be the car number 20... That's not 23, it's 20...
No, it's 25. It's Cam Porter, and you could just see the hold up there from Haroda. He didn't know where to go. It's such a tricky area there at the fountain through 8 and 9, because you can take the inside, but you've got to be early there on 8, and it did not work. Back to the GTOs, though, as Schuster having a little battle with Lundberg. He's going to try and go around the outside of turn 2. What a move. He's got the traction as well. Brilliant from Schuster. Friesen's right behind as well. Can he make it a position? Lundberg's going to go down 2 more positions. Can Friesen make this into? No, he can't make the overtake. And side by side they go. Friesen.
No!
One around. And that might be the championship in the GTOs.
Mickey Friesen, unfortunately, trying to get the car wound up and back going. The rear tire spun. He managed to save it, but I'd say he is broken-hearted in that car. Be the biggest shame if he couldn't get back going, but he can't. He's in a very tricky spot and having to do a 7-point turn, essentially, to get the car back up and going.
Austin powers it, and unfortunately he hit the curb trying to make that move on Lundberg. They were hard racing there, and it did not work for him. Mitchell Welker having a battle himself, and that Seamus Power hitting a curb. He almost had a mistake there. They're going to keep on to more traffic yet again. Josh Brain, can they get around? I don't know, because I'm about to sneeze. No, I'm not. They're going to just hold their position for the moment, and late moves there. You get to turn 11. You can take that a little bit hard, but you've got to open up the corner a little bit, and that may have affected Welker, but they're in the deep of the traffic right now, and if Welker can get a good move here, he might be able to get past Seamus. It's not going to work right now.
An absolute melee. 10 minutes into the race, 30 minutes to go, and oh my goodness, you are trying your very hardest to look everywhere, and this is the crucial conundrum. Where do you go? Inside, outside? That is outside this time is the worker, and Seamus Power solidifies his current place 5th overall.
Yeah, Welker, he moved himself. He had a run around the outside of turn 1 onto Seamus Power. Could not make it. He's almost taking out Low Lundberg with a little desperation move there. That could have been a very messy incident, and Lundberg could have been sent around there. Very lucky not to cause it. So the driver just trying to hold on to these battles. They know how important battles are in this race. As you now see on board, they come down. Well, not on board, on the side. Down they come, down the back stretch. No chance to make a lunge here. Again, with the angles of these corners, Robert, it's so tough to make any late sense here. In a modern day car, let's put some 1989 brakes on these cars. It's even harder.
1989 brakes, tires, drivers, and electronic systems as well. It is a massive turbo that is strapped to the back end of the GTP. So when you couple that, you have to make sure that you're high revs. Make sure that you're always accelerating as much as you can. Try and keep that turbo spooled.
Sorry, Rob, I've got to interrupt. We have major championship implications in the GTPs.
No!
Baron Grau is in the pit. Dustin Hirota just made an overtake 3 wide and Aitor Sintet Galindo. It's coming out to the exit of the lap. And now Hirota leads the championship. He leads the race. Everything is up for Dustin Hirota. Fantastic move. I have no idea what happened to Baron Grau, but it does not look good for him. That's a lot of damage on the rear. Did he get caught up in another incident? Did he hit the wall a bit too hard? Very interesting. I'm not entirely sure what's happened. Oh, he lost it 2 laps ago coming onto the start-finish line. And this is the replay of Dustin Hirota getting past Aitor Sintet Galindo. And there he goes. He makes it done. Was about to make it move here as they get held up with some traffic. And then out of nowhere, they're going to see Baron Grau hit the pit. And a great launch there from Hirota will give him the lead. And at the moment, as the standings stand, the championship. Well, let's take a breather, Rob, because now the top 3 all battling for the championship with GTP. There they are. There's a second between the 3 of them, and we've got 26 minutes left in this race. Oh, this is going to be nerve-wracking for these drivers. It is a digital championship. There is no money on them, but the racing is still real, and the passion is real in these drivers.
Yeah, especially given the fact that if you have an accident or a crash out there and you're as part of the championship implications, to borrow a word from you, Craig, you're going to be... that emotion is definitely real. You know, you are going to be absolutely inconsolable, ignominious with yourself over making a mistake, especially if it was a mistake that you usually wouldn't make. You know, you hit the wall and you've broken your suspension, that's your race over. But not only that, your championship is as well.
Yeah, thankfully for Baron Grau, don't think he was a long shot for the championship. It's those 3 at the front still going. This, though, is Mitchell Welker still having a battle on Seamus Power. They've been glued together for the last 10 minutes. It's been great to see as they hit the fountain section. And they're wondering now where they make the move. They don't have any traffic yet, but they're going to start hitting a mixture of the back of the traffic. Everything's a little bit shaken up here. It is a single split. It's a small single split today, of course, with other things happening around. But regardless, you still have a very busy track. There is only one sector on the racetrack, and it's a small sector that is not filled up by anybody at the moment, which just goes to show how close it is. And now Welker right on the back. I don't think he's got a shot here, because that over there, another tap on the wall, it's so tough to make that move.
He's going to try, though. Looking on the inside now, coming into turn 2. No. He does the Senna on Prost look, where he looks like he's going to try, but no, tucks back in, and it is constant attacking mode right now. You have to plug absolutely everywhere. You can't just be content with 1 or 2 corners. If you're trying to pressure somebody into making a mistake, constant attack. Try and, sleuth them into making the mistake of their own. Capitalize when that mistake is made, and you're good as gold.
Make the mistake. See if you can also bait out a mistake with trying to lap the traffic. It's not worked. Remember, a couple laps ago, Welker almost had the move done, but traffic, he moved himself, and he got blocked by a GTO. By his own, well, not by his own fault, but more by the fact that the line he chose ended up to be a GTO line. Speaking of the GTOs, there is the number 4 of Johan van Hixie, continuing his battle with Kundelis in the Laser Lemon, I would almost say, car. I know he's going to slap me for that, but that is the car. It's very identifying. Is it there for Kundelis as he continues on? These cars, they haven't been tested so much with this colder track, but the brake temperatures, the tire temperatures, they're going to start kicking in a little bit. They've hit the halfway stage. It is going to be a little bit of conserving their tires for the rest of this race. More cars go through, and they've also then got to deal with the GTPs.
Yeah, I would have said Shrek Green, because it's, very, as you said, very vivid colors. But yes, it is kind of getting to the stage where, getting to halfway, you kind of have to make sure that your tires will last the rest of it, because if you burn the rubber off the tires, it'll be no good how fast you are. If you ruin them by being too fast, you can't control pace. You know, you have to hit. If you want to hit targets, now's the time to do it. Koundalis is 5.5 seconds behind Vanateus, so it's all about managing the race as you can. If Vanateus makes a mistake, so be it, game on. But as of right now, work with what you have and get cracking.
Well, these two are battling for the last two positions on the podium. Behind them is a nice three-car battle between Schuster, Lundberg, and Salumba. And of course, Salumba doesn't need to be aggressive here because he has the championship, in theory, wrapped up. And it'll be unofficial standings at the end of the race, so we can't officially claim championships have been decided, but the drivers will feel that everything should be fine. If you're Salumba right now, you want to go racing, but surely, Rob, at the back of your head, you got to think, well, the championship's there. Do I really want to take a risk here?
Truth be told, you keep racing up until the end of the last lap, and you can race at your own pace. And I think Salumba will just continue to keep on with these guys. They're pretty fast. He'll keep their pace and he'll keep engaged. The worst thing that you can do is become disengaged because yeah, I've got my race in my bag, you know. And then you make a mistake due to the lapse of judgment, and that can be even worse in terms of expletives said to yourself at the end of the day.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is make that mistake at the end of the day, so it's going to be very tough on you to do that. Remember Senna being told that as well. If we go back to those F1 analogies, Senna being told to slow down, and it cost him a Monaco Grand Prix. These three just going to be going. Oh, Lundberg as well. He's not had the best of races, and he's still in a chance here to try and get a top 5 after losing out 3 positions to start this race. Going to be interesting. Just going to wait to see what he can do. As it looks like Zachary Buchanan has had a trip with the wall. In fact, yeah, he's had some damage and then some, and almost getting taken out from Brendan Lim with just a mistake there from Lim. Those two continuing on. This is going to be a tough fight. This is for 6th position. They are in a little bubble of their own. It's amazing how spread out this field is, Rob.
It is indeed, but these aren't. This is the battle for 4th position on side by side. That is Welker on Power. Ooh, a little bit of a bounce from Seamus Power. I thought he would have bounced into the wall. He was bouncing that hard, like a trampoline. My goodness me. Underneath Continental back straight now. Well, what is one of the back straights, but the other one is as well. Crunch down the gears. Right again. On towards last big acceleration before the start-finish line. Slide it right. Keep it out to the wall. Ooh, a little bit of Seamus Power is being very defensive.
Well, he's been very defensive, but he defended that position around the outside at turn 7 when we got onto them. I was very surprised at making that. Buchanan has actually now just towed. He's just picked up a big incident. In fact, he came out the start-finish line, and it looked like he locked up the car. Yeah, he locked up the car and just missed a turning. His race is done for the day. These guys, they're not done either, though, as Welker tried to go around the outside and made it stick. Finally, and he gets Mickey Friesen as a bookmark, and that is just what you want to see. Textbook multi-class driving there from Welker, using the slower class to his advantage, gets that stuck. He's up to P4, and he's almost getting held up from Porter, and then using it to his advantage yet again.
Very elegant driving from Welker. Very good use and foresight of where the car will be, and predictability from the other cars as well, of keeping to their lines. And he has just already 2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds in as many corners, and the gap is now 2.2 seconds. Crazy.
Yeah, exactly 2.2. I think Seamus had a little bit of a slide and had to catch the car as well. So that did not help him on board now with Aitor Sintet Galindo. He's trying to catch up to Dustin Hiroda, who had a bit of multi-class traffic to deal with. Interesting fact, Hiroda is fighting for the championship. If he wins the race, he wins the championship. More importantly, it's his first broadcast victory on the IMSA Vintage races. So it's a little bit of a double celebration there. First win, and he almost had one earlier this season at Misano. And this is also going to be the championship. And to be fair, with how spread out it's been this season, it has been a very close championship. I can't remember both championships having to be decided this close at the end of the season.
Yeah, but this man's not he's not gonna make it very easy for him. Heitor Sintes Galindo is an absolute weapon in the car. He can drive the car, he can win in the car, and he has championships to his name as well. And he will be looking and just thinking it's just a nice old dinner out there for him, waiting in the wings. Just needs to slot the car in the right place and take advantage as they go through traffic right now. That's that three-way battle in GTO land for 4th position that we're coming up through. I think Dustin Hiroder is feeling the pressure a little bit. Oh,
feeling the pressure. Everyone's just trying to weave their way through. In fact, Yumlov as well trying to weave its way through, trying to find it, and he almost went in. Yumlov almost got into the wall, into the good run here. If we get back with Yumlov trying to make the move as well, but he can't do it. And they realize with how this is, look where they got to break. They've got to almost break at the 500 board. It's just so different. Remember, it's not meters, it's feet. Just remember that it is feet, not meters. In Europe, they do have the meter boards. Over here, it's the feet, and that just goes to show how much space they need to go. He had the chance of a run there, could not make it. When does he do it with 17 minutes to go, Rob? Because if he gets a run there with 5 minutes to go, I think he goes for it.
You have to be very brave. Very, very brave. I think, given how the traffic is, Hiroder just needs to focus on pushing forward. Keep going forward. Do not look backwards. It's not going to do him any good if he continuously checks his mirrors, because what he'll do is just get fixated on keeping the car 12 behind him, which will be great news for Fabian Youngblood, who can just say, oh, you guys are kind of fighting each other now. Oh, I'll take this first place. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, and you can see the flash of the headlights there coming up from Hiroder. He wants to try and make these moves done. He wants to go for the double. Can't make the double. It's only one of them. He has to slot in, get around. I wonder what car that is. It's Kudelis. We talked about it before with that green. And now here comes the fight. Has that held him up here? No. In fact, it worked for him there as Youngblood gets pulled away again, and Youngblood's having to try and manage his way by. Again, those corners worked. This was a track that did see some multi-class, if I recall, earlier in the old, I say the old days. I forget that the 80s were 30 years ago, or over 30 years ago, but it just goes to show, especially in the 90s, this was a very popular track for Trans Am racing as well. So you just get to see that these cars, they kind of are suited, despite it feels like and I apologize to anybody from the state of Michigan, this does feel like a standard Michigan street where it's very bumpy. But it does have the potholes filled in. I'm sorry, Michigan.
Back in my day, we used to have GTPs running around and driving, and absolutely was magnanimous.
But to be fair, also, how would we know what a Michigan street looks like? Neither of us.
Because I've been to Michigan. We'll leave it like that. I've been to the wonderful state of Michigan. We will leave it like that for the moment as they hit 15 minutes left to go. That's a story for another day, ladies and gentlemen. Johan van Hixie in the GTO still going, but it's very tight here for the moment as they look for the move. Since Galindo trying to weave it through. What an onboard that is. That is not a place I would love to go. That is the commitment that Heitor had, and this is almost frisky there as Hiroder almost went into the back of Ackerman.
Bjorn probably almost screaming in his car, don't hit me please, as the three of them are now bunched up all together. How traffic can change the complexion of the entire situation with 14 minutes to go. I guarantee you Hiroder is absolutely sweating in his box, trying to figure out, is there a way past all of this? I cannot begin to describe the pressure he must be feeling right now.
It's just so tough out there. It's just so tough to find a way to make a move. But this man's trying to make a move. It's Andreas Talumba, and he gets it around the outside of turn 4. And that's a very wonderful move. He's still now got to respect the attack from Noel Lundberg. Brendan Lim goes around the outside. I don't think Noel's going to get this done. He can't do it under the braking with this hard corner. Into the back of Talumba! And thankfully, he saves it! What a save from Noel Lundberg! That is a place you don't want to be sliding, even if you're doing post-race tricks.
Tires are going to be absolutely not happy with him, but he at least kept it in check. And more than anything else, kept it out of the back end of Sliumba, who I think will be very grateful that an accident was avoided in this case. But I would imagine that was a heart-in-the-mouth moment that we just saw.
Well, the back of Andreas's car says "will go wide." It does not have a darts board on the back. Let me just say that right now. And I know Noel did not intend that. It was just a little bit of overspeed there. Not used to the overspeed. It did catch him out. Just one to keep eyes on again. We keep looking back at this battle for P2. Andreas Kundelis and Johan van Hixie as well. Van Hixie having a very strong day. I think I'll have to look at the stats. It's one of his best results and one of his best runnings this season so far as he continues on, and he's in the same problem. This straight's long, but how twisty it is, Rob, you don't get the ability to use that slipstream, and these drivers have not been able to make the overspeed overtakes today around those corners.
It's very tricky at Belle Isle. You know, you'd think that you'd have the space, but you don't. You get to a point where you think, right, I have speed, but the corner is just right there. Oh, well, I'll try the next one. Oh, I have speed. Oh, no, corner's right there. I have speed. Oh, no, corner's right there. So you're having to shorten your distances, make your brake distances as short as possible. Maximize speed exit out of a corner. Try and get as much overspeed before you even begin to negotiate the move. And then rock it on from there. And I think it's just a case of, for the poor GTOs, it is very difficult, as we're seeing.
Yeah, it's very difficult for the GTPs as well. This is almost a track. It's like those, like I always talk about sometimes in other American tracks. You have to set yourself up 2 turns beforehand before trying to look to make the overtake. As we go back to these 3 still battling there, bunched up once again. Not because of traffic, it's just been due to the pace, because they will not hit traffic for, well, let's just have a quick look. It's not going to be for, well, it's going to be the end of this lap. The delta, we never talked about the delta between the multi-class today, is only 10 seconds, which sounds a lot, but in comparison to other tracks this season, that's a pretty small delta, and you get to see they're continuing around. In fact, the GTOs have already been lapped twice. They're going to be lapped one more time. And it wouldn't surprise me, Rob, if these leaders have to go through some GTO traffic on the final lap.
Oh, you can, as the Americans would say, bet your bottom dollar on it, because I'd imagine, especially in the mind of Heitor Sintes Galindo, he's going to want to try and line it up probably on the last lap, have maybe a straggler, just as we're seeing right now, come up in through Fountain maybe, then secure that first position through Fountain, then on the back set of straights, and use the fact that there's no real overtaking opportunity past that, unless you're very, very brave, and then secure that win that he needs to clinch it away from Heroder. But Heroder's gonna, yeah, they all need it. But Heroder, I imagine, he'll fight tooth and nail.
Oh, they're all going to be fighting tooth and nail. And I do wonder if it's the case of Aitor's unable to make that move. Farron Grau, day has gone from bad to worse. He's had a slide out there trying to make an overtake. Did not stick. That might be his race done for the day. But around they go, and this is always the tricky section. Does Aitor finally have a look here? He's going to try and sell the dummy. There is no more space that Heroder can send him into. They're going to go side by side down into turn 3. There's not going to be a touch. The respect is given. Aitor Sintes Galindo takes the lead for the first time today, but net championship lead for the second time today. And Heroder almost lost P2 to Youngblood, who almost had a nose in there as they were coming down into turn 4.
Not able to challenge it. It is a very tricky spot to try and do a counter overtake in through the first 2 turns, and especially when you think about it, the only other opportunity you get is on this back straight, which they've just passed under the Auto Trader banner now. Heroder needs to gather himself. He still has time, but not a lot of it. He's 8 minutes 50 seconds to go as of the time of immediately right now. He'll have to hope that traffic slides Heitor Sintes Galindo towards him very, very slowly. Oh, he does bunch up a little bit more confident Heroder is in the corners. Does the bookmark happen? It does for, unfortunately, Youngbluth. who had to make an evasive maneuver through onto the first straightaway they get for overtaking.
I'll tell you what, that was really good from Aitor, because if we rewind back 15 minutes ago, Aitor almost lost the championship lead because of traffic in that same spot, and he made sure he went wide. And these two are going to go side by side. Youngblood Hiroda's going to make this side by side. There's no space to go. In fact, Josh Brain pulls over, but he allows Hiroda to not really. Well, he allows Hiroda through, but Hiroda is on the wrong line, and he will lose P2. And now all of a sudden, the championship standings goes in this order. It's Synthet Galindo, it's Youngblood, it's Hiroda. And I do wonder, can Youngblood catch up to Synthet Galindo? He's done it once. Can he do it a second time? With Doug Cloud and Jack Spickett having their own battle right ahead of them, the survey says maybe.
Yeah, it is the black box of black boxes. It's all full of surprises. It's a wonder. Oh, a little bit of a touch there against Doug Cloud. A little bit of a swipe. Unfortunately, not a lot of space that can be had throughout that. They have to get by somehow. But as I was saying, it's the secret mystery box at the moment, trying to see what will happen. It can all change in a lap or two. We've seen it happen, where a massive accident put out Ferran Grau, and he's again back in the pits.
Yeah. He had a bit of a moment, lost the control of the car, and decided, I think he's called it into the pits and just decided to call it a day. I'm not sure what's happening there. The top three continue on. You're not missing anything else. We did see that battle earlier with Doug Cloud and Jack David Spickett. Well, notice, by the way, just while there's a small down period, Jack David Spickett actually did not set a qualifying time. He's +6 for the day, which is a respectable time there for Jack David Spickett, as there he is, continuing to battle Doug Cloud. We always talk about the last of first. It was not Jack's intentions. From what I heard from himself, with a lot of choice words about himself, well, not about himself, but a lot of choice words about what happened, he managed to get a 0x on both qualifying laps and unfortunately losing out.
Soul crushing. Because it could be just the tiniest wall tap. And for tracks like Belle Isle, it is so soul crushing when it happens. You have the perfect lap. You come around the last corner. You're trying to maximize your speed. 0x. Yeah. And in fact, it's the same with those doing the Indy 500 qualifying this weekend. You're having a really good lap and you just make one mistake. 0x. There you go. Your four lap average is gone and your qualifying is done. Come back in an hour, and that is unfortunate. Traffic has not worked, though, in terms of the lead of the GTP. But unless your name is Aitor Synthet Galindo, there he is up ahead. It worked out very well because those timing towers don't lie. He has over a second lead now over Fabian Youngblood, and Hiroda has not had the best of time as well. And I'm not sure. I'm getting a lot of replay damage here. On my replay, it's saying he has damage. He does not have damage. Aitor's getting a better run out of this. I'm not saying anything because we tighten the screw with 5 minutes to go. They need their best 5 minutes to finish the race because they have to put everything on the line. Where does Fabian find 1.2 seconds, Rob? With difficulty, unfortunately. And I just want to say, Hiroda, he might be done because look at his car. Very, very damaged. That rear left intake for the cooling is not looking too good, and yeah, that car doesn't look as neat as it was 2 laps ago, so he's obviously picked up a lot of damage. But the Minolta Toyota Nissan, he has to be very, very patient. He has only 4 minutes, correct, but if he ruins it now, he will not get another chance. So bide your time. Learn where Aitor will place the car. That's the number 3. Heart attack moment from Kundus, who tried to take the line.
Just casually there, just minding our own business, and out of nowhere, Fabian just gets on at the desperation pedal. And I do not blame him. I think every driver would be in that same situation. When you've got the back straight here, one of the most important parts of the track, you want to try and catch up to Aitor as much as you can. So they had to disrupt that battle for P2 between Kundels and Van Hickey in the GTOs. It does not matter. Well, it does matter, but for Youngblood, it's more important for him. And thankfully, everyone did a good job avoiding that, but that's another close call in the multi-class out here today. Just the nature of a street track. What is that famous meme, Rob, that they say that, who was it? Former F1 driver, Julian Palmer. You've got to be alert on a street circuit.
Not just alert, you need to be absolutely aware of everything. You need to be aware of the walls, you need to be aware of where you are on the track, other traffic around you. You know, take the likes of Monaco, or especially in this case, Belle Isle. It is very difficult. You have to deal with a very bumpy surface, a changing surface, because that's two different sets of tarmac they've just gone through. You know, you have to essentially grow a third set of eyes, you know, not just a second set, a third set of eyes, to be able to pay attention to nearly everything, or your mind needs to be switched on, fully on. Nothing can be left to chance, especially for Fabian in this case.
Yeah, by the way, I've got glasses. That counts as 4. That's what they usually say, isn't it? So I'm just putting another pair of glasses on as they continue on. 2 minutes to go. They'll get 2 more laps. And interesting enough, I said they may get traffic on the final lap. There's the lead of the GTOs, Valenteus. He'll have 2 to go. A slow exit there for Sintes Galindo does not affect him. I'm looking at my track map right now. I don't think there's going to be lapped traffic. And if there is, it's going to be 1 GTO to the end of this race. In fact, it's Cam Porter, 21 seconds up the road. We talked about that delta being 10 seconds, Rob. This is maybe a straight-out duel between these two, as a little tap on the wall there from Youngblood.
Anything can happen, and anything can change, and I would not put it to bed that I would say they still will get at least 1 car on the last lap. That might pose, you know, upends to the complexion. Fabian, though, he is running out of time. He needs to start thinking about his move. Either this lap or the next lap, he needs to make it preferably right here. He needs to make the move, make the overtake, get it done.
Just got to get it done. By the way, in terms of the other championship, Salumba's still there, vibing in 5th position. Just had a miss shift on his battle with Schuster, so he's going to be losing out there. And unfortunately for Mickey Friesen, it's a very valiant try to drive up the field, but losing 20 seconds trying to Austin power your way through is never going to help, and that is gut-wrenching for Mickey Friesen today. They will cross with a couple more corners. 1 last corner, and now they will see the white flag. This is the final lap of the championship this season. Welker and Hiroda are battling for P3 behind them. They both have some damage to them, but this is the battle. There they go. 1 more time through the braking. I saw Fabian earlier do some flashing. These two won't be doing flashing. Who can be the better on the straight? Can Hiroda make that move? He is. They're still going to go side by side. Great little battling by these two. You've missed nothing.
Oh!
In the lead, though, as Welker goes around. Hiroda holds on to 3. Youngblood did try to make a send. He could not make it. And as they hit now to the back straight for the final time in the lead, is there any give?
Wide line through for Aitor Sintes Galindo, but Youngblood is too far back. He might have blown his chance. As I said, this might have been the right place to make a move. Car and traffic ahead. There is at least 1 coming through Fountain, though.
1 coming through the Fountain. It's the car that came out of the pit. And then it's Stone Stifler. And he does get through, though. They get through with no issues. We're on board with Youngblood. He's going to give it everything he can. But with just 1 more braking corner left to go at turn 12. With turn 13 being a flat line. There it is. It's clean for Sintes Galindo. He's only got Cam Porter 3 seconds up the road. It is it. There is no heroics. Aitor Sintes Galindo takes the win this week. And more importantly, unofficially, Aitor Sintes Galindo wins the GTP Championship. Behind them, Valenteus is going to be crossing the line shortly. He will win in GTO today. And the battle between Van Hicks and Kundelis, it will be a win for Kundelis. Unless there's any more mistakes out there, there is not. There is Valenteus. He will take the victory and give it another 10 seconds, Rob. And Andreas Salumba is still in 5th position. He's only gained 1 position today. It will be all he needs to unofficially claim the GTO Championship.
And it's just a case of keeping it together. He did have a little bit of a bump, but at the very same time, Who can blame you for racing? And Sloomba, take a bow. You came across in fifth, but that's all you needed to do.
That is all he needed to do. It's heartbreak for Mickey Friesen with that spin. He will finish in fifth at the moment. It's 10th position. He's still battling out there as Josh Brain is ahead of him. He won't catch him. So we are going to take a quick break. Keep ourselves in check and give ourselves a quick break. Do not go anywhere, because very shortly we will be back with the post-race unofficial results and interviews. Please don't go anywhere. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Have you recovered after a fantastic finish to the championship? We have some winners and we have some championship winners, but let's go over those results. Because it's Aitor Sintes Galindo winning the GTP race today and the championship just by 3/10 of Fabian Nurlov in a great battle. Then it's Dustin Hiroda in third, recovered to that third after some damage. Seamus Power will be fourth. Mitchell Welker could have had third. A little mistake at the end there did cost him, which is unfortunate. And then it's Brendan Lim in sixth. Jesus Morales was +8 on the day in seventh, and then David Finch in eighth. Javier Del Olmo will be ninth. The last man timed on the lead lap with Martin Krajcik 2 laps down in 10th. Sam Dillington retired 4 laps down, and Ferran Grau as well retired 7 laps down. Albert Palahi was 10 laps down with Zachary Buchanan in 16 laps down, and Guardia, unfortunately, from the lead. A small mistake there, trying to avoid traffic and locking up. 25 laps down. GTOs are on their way, brought to you by Robert.
But at the very top of the leaderboard, it's going to be Andreas Valenteus taking the win today in spectacular fashion, as he always does. When he gets into that car, he's an absolute beast. But in first. In second is going to be Arturas Kundalis. Third, Joachim Van Hixie in a very, very respectable spot. So he did very well today. Andreas Schuster, fourth. But the man of the hour, Andreas Sliumba, fifth car in the number 5 car in 5th position, is able to take and hopefully clinch unofficially the Drivers' Championship for the GTO. Very well done by him. Noel Lundberg, what could have been in 6th position with Jack David Spickett. Very, very bad qualifying. Didn't set a time, but 7th to where he came from. I'd say that's very respectable. Doug Cloud in 8th. Josh Brain in 9th. In 10th is Mickey Friesen. Heartbreak for him. In 11th, it's going to be Alfonso Fernandez. This is Cam Porter, the last car on the lead lap. Romain Bello in 13th. 14th, Bjorn Ackerman. Carl Stonecipher in 15th. Alex Mass in 16th. And rounding it all out is Jamie Hamill-Smith in 17th. But I think we can get started with seeing who's who in the interview box.
Yeah, let's get down and do some interviews. And I think it's only fair to start with the winner of the GTPs. And this is the man that made the overtake to seal it. Aitor Sintes Galindo. I've got to say this in the Christian Horner version. You are a GTP champion. How does it feel, Mr. Sintes Galindo?
Absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy. It's the only win in the entire season, counting Wednesdays and Fridays and everything. The only one that mattered. I'm so happy. I'm so speechless. It was, oh man, today was the day what can I say, man? I mean, it's a great race for Dustin and Fabian. Made an amazing race as well. I had to sweat bullets as well, but man,
that was great to watch. I've got to say, that was great to watch. And I've got to say, there was a moment that I thought you lost the championship there because you got caught out by traffic early in the race, got overtaken 3 wide, and I thought that was it. And the composure you had to get back there. Were you waiting for the opportunity, or was there just nowhere to go? Because on a street track like this, it is so tough to make the overtakes.
Yeah, I mean, this is a traffic heavy track for this. So, yeah, I mean, I look for the opportunity and I took it for Dustin as well for the overtake, which I think it's after this section. But yeah, I mean, it's very heavy. I lost the train of thought because I'm exhausted and happy, but yeah, it's I would say it's a difficult track to overtake. Yeah, that's for sure. That's guaranteed. And with the traffic playing a heavy part, you have to take the chances. If you see a gap like Dustin and me saw, we'll take it. Fortunately, the Audis were kind enough to know that there's a fight for the championship altogether. So, overall, thanks the Audis as well for being kind enough for us to take the apexes.
Yeah, it was some very respectful driving by everyone, some little desperation sense, but you get that regardless if they're the championship or not, so no one's going to judge you. Win number 13 on the broadcast. And I know the stats haven't been updated, but over 180 entries. A championship for you, and you look at the names of Fabian Youngblood, he's been racing as long as you have. You look at Dustin Hiroda, who's a new name, Seamus Power coming up the ranks as well. The future in terms of people coming to battle you and go, you're not allowed to win because, as you said, it's your first win this season. You know, they're growing. And are you worried about the people coming up, or are you just going to be, no, you're not taking this title away from me?
Well, depends, of course, on the let's say the pace of the new drivers. Of course, I think the next season will be, let's say, tricky in terms of participation. Let's say that the tracks that are coming, there are a lot of let's say sketchy ones. We're not going to Spa or Road America, which of course because it's this season, but we're going to Phillip Island. And we're going to Alton Park. You will not miss that. You will because it will gonna be mental. But yeah, I mean, I always say that I'm a championship by default because a champion by default. Sorry, because of the circumstances for the other three ones. This one, I think, I have on merit because I had to fight for the win and the championship altogether. But yeah, I'm not, let's say, scared because I say, oh, I'm gonna beat them. No, I'm just saying that whichever comes, maybe another Altius, maybe another. I mean, Alex Gali is warming up for next season. We'll have to see that. But yeah, I'll just try to find my way for wins or even championships, and yeah, let's hope for the best. And yeah, another happy 8 as today.
The more happy A tours, the better. You talk, by the way, he talked about Phillip Island, ladies and gentlemen. I do have a clip and a photo of the last time this series went to Phillip Island, and it's A-Tour on his side, not on his roof, on his side, and not on the broadcast. It was one of the other races of the week. It was just one of those things. So I'm sure A-Tour loves it. A-Tour, you are the champion. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing you next season or whenever next time is. Please go and enjoy. I think you're going to be losing your voice in celebration tonight. Have a great evening, A-Tour.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys, for the broadcast. Thanks for the interview. And yeah, thanks everybody for watching. And yeah, see you next season.
That was A-Tour Sintez Galindo, champion in the GTP, winner in the GTP. And Rob, why don't we go from one champion to another? Because Andreas Salumba is waiting, and I'm sure he is getting ready to celebrate his championship.
I think we absolutely can. And in the same words that Craig said a few moments ago, Andreas Salumba, you are the world champion! The world champion! Enjoy
yeah,
it!
boys! Oh, that was awesome.
I guarantee you were absolutely sweating in the box. Obviously not having to win it, but you had to be in the right position at the right time. You absolutely were. Take us through it, what was your game plan? Just try and get up into a good position and hold formation, or try and go gung-ho and say, let's do it?
Yeah. The game plan before the race starts, usually you sit before the green flag flies and you just sort of go through all the possible scenarios, but that usually all goes out the window the moment it's green and you see the guys accelerating away from you. At that point, you're just trying to keep your place on the track, try to take anyone else's that they might not be really defending all that well, and just keep the car out of the walls, basically. And it came back with a little bit of a mixed result, I would say. I was a little bit nervous, I'm going to admit, at the start of the race. I had a very unfortunate neutral that I had to give up a place to both Mickey and Doug. So after that, I was just trying to focus and keep my focus on the cars in front. Just try not to let them go anywhere, and see if I could claw back any sorts of positions that I could, basically, just to maximize any amount of points that I could possibly get, just to be on the safe side. Plus, the track and the car, an absolute blast, and I just had a really, really fun time going through the corners, just basically threading the needle on every single one of them. Not all of those corners obviously worked out all that well, but in the end, I managed to get a result that I was more than happy with.
I know. I'd say you're. I'd say ecstatic is the word I would think. And yeah, absolutely, very well done to keep it going after sort of just the box of neutrals came and visited you and didn't give you what you wanted, a gear. But after that, after you settled in, you're trying to sort of not get caught up in, oh, can I actually? I'm actually doing this now. I'm actually doing this, and I noticed that your car says "will go wide," but you kept your line. Yeah. And how was it? How was it in traffic out there? Once the traffic started coming, did it start dawning on you that it's going to be a long race, or did you just focus and keep going?
Actually, the traffic was not that bad. In fact, basically, on Wednesday's race, it was more of a scouting operation, I would say, just to see where the GTPs might want to go around. And at that point, just look in the virtual mirror that I've got set up, just have a look what they're telegraphing, and just make sure that I facilitate, let's say, letting them by, let's say, braking 50 meters or 100 yards sooner, lifting off throttle, going wider, like giving them room to go through, because normally GTPs really don't really want to, let's say, lift out of a, let's say, corner that they're already committed for. So yeah, I definitely did try to keep my eyes a little bit more open than I would normally would be with traffic, and yeah, it was really tough, but it worked out great, perfectly, in fact. So I didn't really lose too much time to the guys in front that I was trying to rein in and sort of follow and not lose. And at the same time, anyone behind me didn't seem to gain all that much either. So in the end, it was definitely a big win there.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm assuming that you'll be participating in next season to try and defend your title.
Next season is summer, and it's a little bit iffy with the potential availability of driving, but definitely if I see any sort of opportunity to join in and hop in on a broadcast, I am absolutely going to take this opportunity to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And we'd love to see it. And I'll say again, Andreas Sliumba, you are the world champion. Enjoy it. And do you have any shout-outs or thanks that you'd like to give?
I'd like to give a great shout out to the IMSA Vintage community. Absolute blast racing. Absolutely everybody on the grid. Perfect traffic management. Excellent post-race discussions. The guys in Slow and Confused that we're with as this little team as well. Perfect support. Awesome guys as well. Also, shout out to any friends in real life that had to deal with me sort of dipping out for an hour or two. Just when I needed to do a race or two. And overall, yeah, GSRC, thank you guys for the beautiful broadcasts. Absolutely love watching them back after each race that I participate in and the ones I miss. So yeah, actually perfect. And a big shout out to the couple of very refreshing beverages in my fridge waiting to be opened.
Well, go ahead and take care of those, Andreas Suliumba. Pleasure talking to you as always, and we hope to see you again sometime soon.
Thank you, guys.
Well, that was
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, that was Andreas Salumba. And with us currently now will be Fabian Jumbluff, who unfortunately missed out by 0.3. It was such a tight battle at the end, but it was so much fun. But I can imagine, Fabian, that's going to be a little bit heart-wrenching to finish so short.
Yeah, I'm a little bit bummed by not today's race, about the out as holder, but the last two races showed why we both had a proper title, very competitive, very close, and I'm happy about having the chance to get the second title in a row, because I'm not nowhere near that, like say 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was tough, and of course, yeah, the way the season ended as well was very up and down, and it changed everything as well. And that race, it looked, because you had to make a lot of positions early on, I noticed, and it looked like you were in chance to keep up with the top three. And then Hiroda had his mistake; it was just the two of you, but it also looked like it was very hard out there to make any overtakes. Did you actually see any opportunity to make a move? Because when you were running as three, it sometimes looked like you were at the back because it's so tough around here to make an overtake.
Yeah, no, proper chance, not really. I think I cooked my tires already for all the lapping to keep up with the two. The last lap try at turn 3 was not intended, but probably the only shot I had the entire race to overtake for the champion.
I know it's so tough to say this, but they've done the count back unofficially. You do also get the second place in the championship. I know it's not, nobody wants to come second, of course. Is that a little bit more, does that help? Or at the end of the day, it was some of the hardest racing we've seen in GTP for a couple seasons. Where do you go from here as well? Because next season, a different bunch of tracks, more tight and technical tracks. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I think we will see. Second place is at least something. Like, good to see that. Yeah, next season, as well as this season, I thought I wasn't available as I was last season, but it paid out brilliantly. This I don't think season is gonna be around as many weeks season. For season 4, yeah, let's see what happens in season 3, but season 4 I'm gonna do something different.
Well, before we let you go for the evening, it's only fair that we give you a chance to give your shout outs to your people and anyone you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you go for the evening.
Yeah, shout out to my competitors, Aitor and Dustin. A very great season. Like going into the finals with on points and 2 points back is very close. And I think this was the closest title deciding race series ever had, with 3 points and 4/10ths of a second crossing the line at the championship day. Thank you guys for racing, and I hope to see you guys next season as well.
Well, Fabian, thank you for coming in to talk to us after that heartbreak of P2. And we look forward to seeing you next season. And until then, have a good evening out there. That was Fabian Jumblov, P2 in the race. Unfortunately, P2 in the championship, as he said, one of the closest finishes we've ever had in the IMSA Vintage. And there is one more man that we get to talk to. He was away having a little bit of some relaxation the last week, but Robert is finally here with Cam Porter, who had a very interesting race.
Oh, that's sweet, Craig. Thank you. Sorry, Robert. Thank you. Sweet of you to say. Oh, it was a little rough today. I was having a good race near the beginning, and unfortunately, I got unceremoniously put into the wall by a lapped Nissan in kind of a silly way. I'm boggled that it happened like that. So that damaged my car. Obviously, I was carrying damage for the rest of the race, and Mickey caught up to me and passed me no problem on the straightaway. So obviously, I was carrying both wheel damage and aero damage from that. And yeah, so a bit of a disappointing end to the season for me, even though I feel like it was a pretty successful season overall. Just the talent that shows up to this race every week is just unreal. Some so super fast guys. And obviously they work hard for it. They do a lot more practice than I do. So I don't feel bad about that. Oh, well, like some other guys said already, it's summer, so I anticipate doing a little bit of travel. So I might not be able to make a full season, depending on what happens. Of course, I love IMSA Vintage, and I feel like I've become part of the community here, and I love just getting into in the broadcast every week and talking with you guys at the end of the races. Just the overall experience of doing this series and the other series that I participate in is just second to none. I keep doing it because I really enjoy it. I do have some more plates. I don't really have room here to put anything else up, really. Maybe on this side. But yeah, well, things are happening just recently that I'm going to have a new studio space, hopefully do some more Kami's Garage work. I've been kind of in a transitional period right now. But that also may mean that I won't be able to participate in weekend races, at least not regularly. Yeah, more announcement on that. Future announcement will be coming on that.
If I may, if you have any shoutouts or likes or thanks that you'd like to give for us, at the end of the day.
I just want to shout out GSRC
Yes.
for putting on a great broadcast every week, and Robert, you do a great job directing, and it's interesting to hear your voice for first time. And also Craig and all the other guys, Joe, Adam, the whole crew at GSRC. Thanks a lot, guys. Really appreciate your coverage.
And we appreciate you, Cam. From your number one fan, thanks very much for taking the time to spend with us. And that was indeed Cam Porter. Craig?
And that will do it for another week and another season in the IMSA Vintage series. I almost said community challenge, but it's the same thing. I want to give a thanks to the team today, which was just Robert. And of course, everybody else this season who has contributed. That is Joe. That is Adam, like Cam said. That is Mike. That is Thomas. That is Daniel. And of course, Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, and our merchandise store. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you do not miss a moment here on GSRC. There's going to be a list of broadcasts coming by, but of course it is week 13 next week. We're going to have a nice break, and we hope you do. So we hope you've enjoyed joining us today as much as we have enjoyed bringing this emphatic and fantastic season finale to you. We hope to see you next time. But of course, until next time, race clean, race hard, and we will see you on the track.